Welcome back to the Weather Show with Vin Crosby. We are having a blast from inside Weather Show Christmas Tree Studio 1, or whatever, I just made that up. I want to show you something cool, something we haven't done, I don't think anybody's ever done in the history of Idaho television. We're doing it here, though, because that's what we're about here on the Weather Show. We love to do weather forecasting. I love to draw, and so we've kind of combined the two. And let's hope that we can get this all in. Want to get the snowman in. You got to get the snowman in. He's been there. Got to name the snowman some of these days, or one of these days. Okay, a lot going on here with the Weather Show. I'm going to reach around the room and hopefully go and find something to draw with without tipping over the camera. So let's see how we do that. You guys just sing along at home, do some Christmas carols or whatever you'd like to do, and we'll get to it in just a bit. But there's the map. There's the story. That's the current radar depiction right now. You can see we have a tremendous amount of rain and moisture, and it is rain moving across the Columbia River Gorge. That trend will continue as we go through the overnight hours, and we know here it is very cold across Idaho and the Gem State, and so we have tremendous amount of cold air intact. So winter storm warnings are up for the mountains for heavy snow. Winter weather advisories are up for the Treasure Valley for snow and freezing rain. Notice all this heavy rain back through Seattle and Portland. That is all streaming towards the east. It's going to run into the cold air. You don't have to be a meteorologist to know that is the formula for some wintry precipitation, especially with the type of cold air we have. However, I'm going to break it down for you and give you a little Weather 101 scenario here as we flip the whiteboard. I call it a Treasure Valley winter mess. It is going to be a winter mess across the region. Here's the surface. This is where we're hanging out right now. There's a big dome of cold air that's been on top of us, below 32 degrees for several days, as we just told you. And then what we're having is this mild air running up on top of the cold air, this dome, and that's going to erode some of that cold layer in several areas towards western Idaho as we go throughout the day tomorrow. But it's not going to warm things above 32 degrees down near the surface. And so what will happen... And so what will happen here is we will see the rain fall and then freeze on the surface, which down here is still below 32 degrees, and that's going to start forming that ice. That's what we call freezing rain. And then there'll be enough warm air that climbs on top of the cold air here where we'll see snow, some rain, and then as it falls in the mild air, it freezes again in this column of cold air. So that forms little ice pellets called sleet. So we'll have a wintry mix of some snow, some sleet, and freezing rain. And then, of course, right when it starts, it'll be all snow because there'll be a very tall column of cold air here to support snow from the surface all the way on up through the atmosphere. And so I think what we're going to see happen is in this bracket right here from, say right in through here from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. tomorrow, I think we'll have plenty of cold air for snow that will accumulate in the Treasure Valley, and then it will go over to a mix of some sleet, some freezing rain, and some snow as we get closer to 2 p.m. in the afternoon. This is for most of the Treasure Valley. And then back across, say, from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., then we'll start running into some areas in the Treasure Valley that change over to rain, liquid rain. Looks like rain, feels like rain, but when it hits the surfaces that are 32 degrees and colder, it freezes on contact. Signs, your windshields, and of course the roads across the surface. So I think this is the kind of transition we're going to have in the Treasure Valley. And then the higher elevations, of course, will stay all snow. But for the Treasure Valley, we're going to go through a period of snow. We're going to go through a period of wintry mix, and then we're going to get into some ice all throughout the day. How much do I think is going to fall in the Treasure Valley? Check out some of these snow totals. Yeah, there's quite a bit here. I'm noticing that maybe I can move this back here. We'll get a little... There you go. Get a little bit more here on the map if it doesn't fall off the back of my table. Yeah, let's do that. Cool. All right, so snow totals in Boise, Meridian, Eagle, Star, like 1 to 3 inches before any of that wintry mix kind of takes a turn there to the sleet and freezing rain. And then Nampa, Caldwell, Middleton, Ontario, New Plymouth, 2 to 4 inches of snow. Now, the reason I like that is because it's lower elevations, or there are lower elevations over in Nampa, Caldwell, and back towards Middleton. Boise comes in at 2,800 feet. Nampa gets down to 2,400 feet. Then as you get back towards the west in Ontario, it's like 2,200 feet, the surface above sea level. And so colder air will be taller in that area from the surface to higher elevation, so it'll stay snow a little longer. 2 to 4 inches of snow expected there. Mountain Home, about 1 to 2 inches of snow, and then 1 to 3. And not everybody will see exactly 1 or exactly 3, but it'll be mixed because the cold air will erode in some areas a little quicker than others. But check out the mountain totals. McCall and Cascade, 8 to 18 inches of snow up through Donnelly. I like Brundage to get 20 inches through this storm. Tamarack, 18. Bogus Basin, about a foot, maybe a little bit more or a little bit less, and around 23 inches at Sun Valley before it's all said and done. So tremendous amount of snow totals coming on through. And speaking of the snow and the higher elevations, this is going to make a mess for as we go on in through tomorrow. My biggest concerns, this is it, the big concerns, avalanches. Avalanches is going to be a huge concern. Avalanche danger is the highest 24 hours after any snowfall, heavy snowfall. But in this case in particular, your snow is very different density. In other words, we had the light, fluffy stuff that moved on in. Then we had the temperature change where there was a little bit more water content. Then tomorrow there'll be a different snow texture with a little bit more water content, all packed on different layers. And so that's going to make for an unstable snowpack. And so avalanche danger is going to be very high over the next 24 to 36 hours with this fresh snow. And then major icy side roads. All right, we know that the snow's been packed down in Meridian, Boise side roads, Nampa, Caldwell especially. What's going to happen? Here's what I think is going to happen, especially when we start to get some liquid rain on top of some of the packed down ice that's there. A lot of the any snow, any dirt, any packed down snow that kind of had some traction over that ice is going to kind of wash off. And it's just going to be ice, and it's going to be smooth, and it's going to be wet. It is going to be incredibly slick. And in other words, when you take that turn into a parking lot, onto a side road, you are going to go across to the other side in a heartbeat, in a blink. You're just going to keep sliding. There is not going to be a turn. And that's what I think is going to happen tomorrow. I think there are going to be more accidents tomorrow than we have seen over the past 2 winter storms, mainly in the back roads, the side roads, intersections. So this is potentially an extremely dangerous situation as far as accidents go. We just don't want you to get hurt for the holidays. Wear that seatbelt. Have like some extra blankets in the car when you travel tomorrow, because it is not going to take much for a car to come across the lane and into your lane. You will have nothing to do with it about it, but you're not going to be able to get out of the way. And same thing, parents tell the kids, just make sure they're not around roadways tomorrow. I mean, this could be Wreck-A-Rama exponential. So that's my big concerns, avalanches and the major icy side roads. So that's the weather show for tonight. And so we will leave you with my good friend over here, the snowman. Oh, yes. And I think he plays some music. Let me see here.